I was about to cancel my sister's monthly allowance when she raised her wine glass to toast my incredible independence. That's when I realized I'd been funding my own humiliation for 6 years. The Waterford crystal catches the light from Mum's chandelier as Victoria raises her glass. Her Cartier bracelet, the one I bought her last Christmas, though she told everyone it was a work bonus, glints against the stemware. "To family," she says, voice carrying that practiced confidence I recognize from her Instagram stories, and to celebrating each other's successes. Around the table at Mom's house in Greenwich, heads nod approvingly. Dad adjusts his reading glasses to get a better look at Victoria's outfit, Hermes blazer, Louboutin heels, the kind of understated luxury that screams, "I've made it," to our parents' generation. Victoria's promotion to senior marketing director is such wonderful news. Mom beams, refilling wine glasses, 60% salary increase, corner office, company car allowance. I take a sip of wine and say nothing, because I know Victoria's actual job title, marketing coordinator, and her actual salary, $42,000 before taxes. The corner office is a shared cubicle in a strip mall dental practice in Stamford. The company car allowance is my monthly $3,200 transfer, labeled consulting fee, in her bank statements. And Marcus is still doing his computer thing, Dad says, the phrase dropping like a stone into the conversation. My computer thing, 5 years building Thompson Logistics Solutions from my basement into a $2-3 million annual revenue business, 42 employees across 3 states, government contracts, Fortune 500 clients, and enough profit to comfortably fund my sister's designer lifestyle. But it's not a real job in their eyes. No corporate ladder, no business cards with impressive titles, no office building with my name on the directory. "At least you're consistent," Uncle Robert chuckles, cutting his prime rib. "Some people are natural entrepreneurs, others are natural employees. Nothing wrong with either path." Natural employees. If only he knew that Victoria's natural employee status requires $38,400 annually in artificial life support from her natural entrepreneur brother. "The important thing," Mum continues, "is that Victoria has found her calling. Marketing is so creative, so dynamic. She really understands consumer psychology. Consumer psychology. Victoria's greatest consumer insight is knowing exactly how much her lifestyle costs and which brother to bill for it." My phone buzzes under the table. Bank notification. Recurring transfer of $3,200 to V. Thompson has been processed. Right on schedule. First Sunday of every month for 6 years. I look across the table at Victoria, who's describing her strategic vision for Q4 campaigns with the fluency of someone who's memorized the right buzzwords. She catches my eye and smiles, the same smile she's worn since we were kids, when she'd break something and I'd take the blame. Except now the broken thing is my self-respect, and I'm still taking the blame. "Marcus," Dad says, "maybe you should think about getting a real job. Benefits, security, advancement opportunities. You're 34, time to get serious about your career." Real job. I employ 42 people with real jobs. I provide benefits, security, advancement opportunities. I pay more in quarterly taxes than Victoria earns in 6 months. But none of that matters at this table, where success is measured by how corporate your business card looks and how many times you get mentioned in the local paper's Rising Young Professionals section. Victoria leans forward conspiratorially. "Actually, I've been thinking about expanding into digital marketing. There's such potential in e-commerce logistics." E-commerce logistics, the industry she couldn't explain to save her life, but speaks about like she invented it. I set down my wine glass. The crystal rings like a small bell against Mom's antique table. "That's interesting, Victoria. Tell me more about your vision for e-commerce logistics." Victoria's smile freezes for just a microsecond. But she recovers quickly. She's had 6 years of practice. "Well, you know, the synergies between traditional marketing channels and supply chain optimization, customer journey mapping across multiple touchpoints." I nod along, watching her weave together business school buzzwords like a jazz musician improvising over a melody she doesn't actually know. "Sounds like you've really thought this through," I say. "I'm sure your company would love to hear these ideas. What's your boss's name again?" "Dr. Patterson. He's very forward-thinking about integrated marketing strategies." Dr. Patterson, the orthodontist who owns the dental practice where Victoria schedules appointments and orders supplies. And your corner office. Which corner of the building? Southeast. Great natural light. I pull out my phone, open Google Maps. Stamford Dental Associates on High Ridge Road, right? Victoria's hand tightens almost imperceptibly around her wine stem. Yes, why? I show the screen to the table, street view of a single-story building that couldn't have corners if it tried. Interesting architecture, I say. Very minimalist. Dad squints at the phone. That doesn't look like it has corners. The angles are subtle, Victoria says quickly. Modern design principles. Modern design principles. I have to admire her commitment to the performance. Mom clears her throat. Marcus, dear, you're being awfully technical tonight. Am I? I thought we were celebrating Victoria's success. I'm just interested in the details. Some people are detail-oriented, others are big-picture thinkers, Uncle Robert interjects. Victoria's clearly a strategic mind. Strategic mind. Let me show them just how strategic. I open my banking app, navigate to scheduled transfers. 6 years of transaction history scrolls down the screen like a reverse odometer, each 3,200 payment marking another month of subsidized fiction. Victoria, I say, voice steady, I need to let you know that your consulting retainer is ending. My what? She blinks, but her smile never wavers. Your monthly consulting fee for business development advice. I won't be needing those services anymore. The table goes quiet. Even the grandfather clock in the hallway seems to pause between ticks. Marcus, Victoria laughs, I think you're confused. I don't provide consulting services to your business. No? Then what would you call this? I turn my phone screen toward the table. Transaction history, clear as daylight. Transfer to V. Thompson, 3,200. Transfer to V. Thompson, 3,200. Transfer to V. Thompson, 3,200. Dozens of them, stretching back to 2018. A paper trail of financial dependence disguised as family generosity. This must be some kind of mistake, Victoria says, but her voice has lost its confident edge. The only mistake, I say, was thinking I could buy family approval for $38,400 a year. The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. Mom looks from the phone to Victoria to me, her expression cycling through confusion, realization, and something approaching horror. Marcus, she says carefully, are you saying you've been giving Victoria money? I'm saying I've been funding Victoria's lifestyle. The apartment in downtown Stamford, the designer clothes, the lease on the BMW, the spa weekends in the Hamptons she posts about on Instagram. Dad sets down his fork. Victoria, is this true? It's not what it sounds like, Victoria says quickly. Marcus offered to help with some temporary cash flow issues. Temporary? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. 6 years, Victoria, 72 months of temporary. I navigate to a different screen on my phone. Let me share some details about this consulting arrangement since everyone's so interested in Victoria's success. Marcus, please. Victoria's voice carries a note I haven't heard since we were kids, actual fear. No, I think this is important. Family should celebrate each other's achievements, right? I clear my throat like I'm giving a presentation. Which, in a way, I am. Victoria Thompson, Marketing Coordinator at Stamford Dental Associates, salary, $42,000 annually, job responsibilities, appointment scheduling, insurance verification, ordering supplies, office location, shared cubicle in a strip mall. Each fact lands like a physical blow. Victoria's composure crumbles in real time. Her BMW lease, $847 monthly, paid by Marcus Thompson. Her downtown apartment, $2,800 monthly, paid by Marcus Thompson. Her designer wardrobe budget, approximately $500 monthly, paid by Marcus Thompson. Uncle Robert's mouth opens and closes like a fish, but she said she got a 60% raise. Her raise was 3%, I continue, from $40,800 to $42,000. The 60% increase was in her allowance from me when I bumped it from $2,000 to $3,200 monthly to cover her moving expenses. Mom's hand goes to her throat. Victoria, honey, why didn't you tell us? Because, Victoria says, her voice barely above a whisper, you all think Marcus is a failure. The words hang in the air like smoke from a fire that's finally been snuffed out. A failure, Dad repeats. The computer thing. The basement business. No real job, no real career. You've been telling me for years how I need to be the successful one, the one who makes something of herself. How could I disappoint you? I feel something shift in my chest, not vindication, but a deep, tired sadness. So you decided to disappoint me instead. Victoria's mascara is starting to run, but she's still fighting. I never asked you to pay for everything. No, you just implied you'd have to move back home if I didn't. Remember, I'm barely making ends meet, Marcus, just until I get established. That was 6 years ago, and you've been getting established ever since. Meanwhile, I've been working 18-hour days to make sure your establishment looks impressive enough for family dinners. Mom looks stricken. Marcus, we never asked you to, didn't you? I turned to face her fully. Every time you praised Victoria's independence while calling my business a hobby. Every time you asked when I was going to get serious about my career while celebrating her promotions that never happened. What message do you think that sent? Dad shifts uncomfortably. We just wanted both of you to succeed. No, you wanted us to succeed in ways you could understand. Victoria's fake corporate job made sense to you. My real business didn't. Your business, Uncle Robert says slowly, how exactly does it work? Finally, someone asks the right question. I run a logistics consulting firm. We optimize supply chains for mid to large companies. Last year, we saved our clients a combined $47 million in shipping costs and delivery delays. The numbers hang in the air like foreign currency they're trying to convert. $47 million, Mum repeats. Our fee is typically 2% of documented savings. Do the math. Dad does the math. His face changes color. You made nearly $1 million last year? Revenue was $3 million. Profit after expenses and payroll was $890,000. I took home about $340,000 after taxes. The table has gone cemetery quiet. Victoria stares at her plate like she's trying to disappear into the pattern. And you've been supporting Victoria on top of that? Mom asks. Supporting Victoria instead of expanding my business, instead of hiring more staff, instead of opening a proper office, instead of investing in the equipment and infrastructure that would have doubled our revenue by now. I can see them recalculating everything they thought they knew. About success, about failure, about who in this family was worth celebrating. Marcus, Dad says quietly, why didn't you ever tell us? Because you never asked. You saw the basement office and the casual clothes and decided I was playing computer games for a living. You saw Victoria's Instagram posts and business casual outfits and decided she was conquering the corporate world. But why keep paying for Victoria's lifestyle if you knew we were wrong? I look at my sister, still beautiful, still impeccably dressed, still living a lie. Because I thought if I made her successful enough, you'd finally see me as successful too. I open my banking app one more time, navigate to the recurring transfer screen. Victoria watches like she's watching me load a gun. Marcus, she says, please, we can work something out. I'll pay you back. With what? Your $42,000 salary. I'll get a better job. A real promotion this time. Will you, or will you just tell everyone you got one? My finger hovers over the cancel recurring transfer button. This isn't just about the money, Victoria. It's about what we've both become. You, performing success you haven't earned. Me, paying for approval I'll never get. Marcus, honey, Mom says, maybe we can all just... No. I look around the table at faces that suddenly seem older, more fragile. This ends now. The performance ends. The subsidy ends. The pretending ends. I press the button. The screen confirms, recurring transfer cancelled. There, it's done. Victoria starts to cry real tears this time, not the strategic kind she's used at family gatherings to deflect difficult questions. You have no idea what this will do to me, she sobs. I have every idea. You'll have to get a job that actually pays enough to support your lifestyle, or you'll have to live within your means, like every other adult in America. But everyone thinks I'm successful. My friends, my co-workers, Your what? Your boyfriend who thinks you're a marketing director? Your friends who think you lease a BMW on your own salary? Victoria, they don't love the real you. They love a fiction I've been bankrolling. Dad clears his throat. Son, this is a lot to process. Is it? Victoria's been lying to you for 6 years about her job, her salary, her independence. I've been lying to you about why I never expanded my business, never bought a real office, never invested in myself the way I should have. We're all liars here. We didn't know, Mom says weakly. You didn't want to know. You wanted the easy story, successful daughter, struggling son. It fit your understanding of how the world works. I stand up from the table, my napkin falling to the floor like a white flag. I'm not struggling, and Victoria isn't successful. She never has been. What she is unemployed effective immediately from the job of being my financial dependent. Marcus, you can't just… Victoria starts. I can. I just did. I walk toward the front door, leaving behind the crystal and china and the carefully constructed fiction we've all been living. Where are you going? Mum calls after me. Home, to work, to build something real instead of subsidizing something fake. I don't hear from anyone for 3 days. Then Mum calls. Marcus, honey, we need to talk. About what? About everything. About what you said at dinner, about Victoria, about your business. What about my business? We looked it up, online. Your company website, the client testimonials, the industry articles mentioning your work. I wait. Marcus, why didn't you ever tell us how successful you were? I tried. Every time you asked when I was going to get a real job, I was trying to tell you I already had one. But you never said you were making that much money. Would it have mattered if I wasn't? Would my work be less valuable if I made 50,000 instead of 300,000? She's quiet for a long moment. Your father wants to know if you'd be willing to have lunch with him, just the two of you. Why? He wants to understand your business better. He's been reading about logistics consulting. He had no idea it was such a legitimate industry. Legitimate progress, I suppose. What about Victoria? She's moving back home next month. She gave notice on the apartment, returned the car to the dealer. She's looking for a new job, something that actually pays enough to live independently. How's she taking it? Not well, but she's starting to realize that what you did, cutting off the money, it might have been the kindest thing anyone's ever done for her. I doubt Victoria sees it that way yet, but maybe someday. Marcus, we owe you an apology, a big one. You owe me honesty going forward. The apology is just words. Fair enough. Will you have lunch with your father? I think about it. About 34 years of being misunderstood, underestimated, taken for granted. About 6 years of buying love with money and getting neither love nor respect in return. Tell him to pick the restaurant, but I'm paying. With money I earned running my fake computer business. She laughs, and for the first time in years, it sounds genuine. 2 months later, Victoria comes to my office. My real office. The one I finally rented with the money I'm no longer spending on her lifestyle. 3rd floor of a renovated warehouse in Stamford, with windows that actually have corners. She looks different, smaller somehow, in clothes from Target instead of Saks. But also more real, like someone removed a filter from a photograph. Nice place, she says, looking around at the exposed brick and industrial lighting. Thanks. I should have done this years ago. Why didn't you? Because I was spending your rent money on your rent. She winces but doesn't argue. Marcus, I got a job. I heard. Mum said you're working at the marketing firm downtown. Junior account coordinator, 38,000 to start, but there's real growth potential. And I'm good at it. Actually good, not fake good. That's great, Victoria. I also wanted to give you this. She hands me a check for 500. It's not much, but it's what I can afford to start paying you back. I look at the check, her name printed in the corner, her new address, her careful handwriting making out the amount. Victoria, you don't owe me money. I owe you a lot more than money. What you owe me is a real relationship with your real sister, not the performance you've been giving for 6 years. She nods, tears starting. I'm scared. Of what? Of not being special anymore, of being ordinary, of people seeing me as I really am. Victoria, ordinary people don't embezzle from their families for 6 years while maintaining a perfect facade. You're many things, but ordinary isn't one of them. Is that supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you feel honest. She laughs through her tears. I hate that you're right. Get used to it. I'm right about a lot of things. That's how I built a business successful enough to fund your fictional life. Why did you do it? Really? I lean back in my chair, the good chair I finally bought for my real office with my real money. Because I thought if I made you successful, they'd finally see me as successful too. Because I thought love was transactional. Because I thought your approval was worth more than my self-respect. And now I know better. She stands to leave, then turns back. Marcus, thank you. For what? For cutting me off, for making me grow up, for saving me from becoming the kind of person who could live that lie forever. After she leaves, I sit in my office and think about transformation. About how sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable their worst impulses. About how sometimes the bravest thing you can do for yourself is stop paying other people to love you. My phone buzzes with a new client inquiry. A Fortune 100 company looking to optimize their international shipping operations. The kind of contract that would have been impossible when I was working from my basement, spending half my revenue on family theater. I answer the phone with my real name, representing my real company, offering real solutions to real problems. It feels good to be real. 1 year later, Dad introduces me at his retirement party as my son Marcus, who runs Thompson Logistics Solutions, one of the fastest growing consulting firms in Connecticut. Not my son who does the computer thing, or my son who works from his basement. Just facts, simple, accurate facts. Victoria is there too, wearing a dress from J. Crew and talking animatedly with my employee Sarah about account management strategies. She's been promoted twice at her firm and just signed her first apartment lease in her own name. It's small, she told me last week, but it's mine. Everything in it is mine. Mum pulls me aside during the party. Marcus, I have something to tell you. What's that? I'm proud of you. I should have said it years ago, but I'm saying it now. I'm proud of what you built, and I'm proud of how you built it. And I'm sorry it took me so long to say it. Better late than never. Is it? Is it really better? I think about the question seriously, about the years of feeling invisible, inadequate, misunderstood. About the money and time and self-respect I spent trying to buy recognition that should have been freely given. Yes, I say finally, because now when you say you're proud, I know you mean it. When you said it before, if you had said it before, it would have been based on fiction. You're very wise for someone who spent 6 years paying his sister to pretend to be successful. I'm wise because I spent 6 years paying my sister to pretend to be successful. Expensive education, but effective. Later, as I'm leaving, Victoria catches me in the parking lot. Marcus, I need to tell you something. What? I've been thinking about starting my own business, marketing consulting for small businesses. I've learned a lot about what doesn't work. I laugh. That's actually not a bad foundation for understanding what does work. I was wondering, would you be willing to give me some advice about running a business, I mean? Real advice, not the kind I pretended to give you. Victoria, I'd be happy to help. On one condition. What? You never lie to me about how it's going. Good or bad, success or failure, tell me the truth. Deal. She hugs me, and for the first time in years it feels like hugging my actual sister instead of her public relations representative. As I drive home to my own apartment, the one I finally bought with money I earned instead of money I saved by not subsidizing someone else's dreams, I think about family and truth and the price of authenticity. It cost me $230,006 years of my life to learn that love you have to purchase isn't love at all.